Welcome back to Case Closed, Anime Review, episode 146. If you're going to hear a very strange noise in the background, if you hear a lot of that's a train going by my house. As a matter of fact, it's not that far from my house. It is like just a few blocks away that we have an actual train going by my house. So that's what's going on right now. Alright, talking about this new episode, Case Closed. Now, this episode itself, covering episode 1034, Taiko Meijin Shogi board, brilliant move. That's just the second part of this three-parter. This episode itself covers the rest of chapter 1044 and goes through almost the entirety of chapter 1045 with the exception of the last 4 pages. Yep, so we pick up where we left off last week, where basically we have the 3 people who were introduced in the last episode. They basically give their alibis where they were when this guy, Genta, was murdered. Not Genta, not the little kid, this is another Genta. Where basically recap their alibis, which they basically detailed last episode. And then, of course, they also bring up the fact that, I think it was the Cheba guy of the group, he mentions, excuse me, let's see if I want to make sure I get this correct here. Let's see. It was Kosuke. He brings the fact that there was actually a few other players, per se. Yes. There was Kiru, Kishimoto, and Nakido. Yeah. And they kind of confirmed this. There's actually been a series that they actually have a serum on their hands. And of course they go investigate, I think it was supposed to be Kenji's place, where he got depressed after the death of Nakido. Was it Nakido? No, it was Uru. Yeah. Uru basically hung himself, and Kishima and Yuti basically depressed. So they go visit his place, and his place is actually over here. In the house. And they open the window oh crap, there's smoke. So Sato, Tagagi, and Conan decide to go over there. And there is Inspector, what is his name here? Yamagura. Yep. I haven't seen him in a while in this series. Yes, and in case you're curious though, this is his most recent appearance to date. His last appearance was back in episode 910. Dealing with a burning tent. Yep, a burning tent. And you're thinking, really? That was his most recent appearance? Yes, that's indeed true. So it took him a while, though. Yes. And if you're curious, though, how long ago does burning tent case happen? 4 years ago. Almost 4 years ago. Yeah, it's kind of weird, though. We almost 4 years since God ever returned to the anime. And that was his last appearance, canon-wise. Yep, that was definitely his last appearance to date. The guy is actually a pretty good character. Doesn't really appear very much, though. He's here for this brief thing, and of course they discussed the fact the guy was killed by fire, suspected before he killed fire. And everyone went, oh, Conan, what are you doing here? And of course the guy, he's stowed away in our patrol car. And meanwhile, though, the very next day after this, then after this particular case, then after this, we have Taiko. He goes visit, the culprit behind the case, and the guy's sweating like crazy. And the guys walk to the apartment, and then you see him in a flashback. He gets knocked out by a freaking taser. Yep. Oh, by the way, when he goes to his apartment, that's where chapter 1044 ends. And then something weird happens. Wrathmade happens if you watch this in the anime. And then for some reason, halfway through the episode, we have Conan recapping the previous episode and the first half of this episode. Now you're probably thinking, why the heck would Conan recap something we already know? Some stuff that just happened just a few minutes ago? Well, there's a reason for that. That's what the manga did. Yep. That's not a change. That is something happened in the manga. You probably think, oh, when the anime cut this out? No, they kept this all in. As a matter of fact, visually wise, there's not really much change here. Not really, no. They add some stuff here, but nothing really changed per se. After going thinks about it for a while, and by the way, Taiko, he wakes up in the culprit's apartment where he's tied up, hands behind his back, and he's trying to reach his phone, but basically he can't exactly call anybody because it's one of these smartphones. And we see the culprit, he's like pacing back and forth waiting for news on the police reports. And then, of course, Conan's recapping his stuff. And then he gets a phone call from Yumi. Yes, Yumi. Where it's like, the Meijin has disappeared. He never returned last night. He didn't show up at the bed last night. So, and then we see Miki. Yep, Miki. Yeah. Making her first appearance is episode 974. Which, by the way, this episode aired just almost 2 years ago. So, yes, it was the first appearance in 2 years. Oh, and here's something you might be interesting, though. In the manga where the episode adapts from, that's the most recent appearance in the manga. Yes, as for Keba himself, he's mostly appeared in a lot of anime original content. Like, in the case of, the manga prior to this one. He does appear once after this in the following, I think it was, just in the following case, and that's it. In the case of in the anime, prior to this episode here, he was just featured in episode 1030, which just a few episodes back. So him has not been very long, but canon-wise, last time he was seen was back in the Anthony Trade case. Mm-hmm. Yep. That was his last appearance day prior to this one. So he appears briefly here, and he appears a couple more chapters, and that's it for him. Yep. So, after calling Conan, then Conan decides to make a phone call to Aki, Takiko's older brother. Mentions his brother is missing and needs his help. And, of course, Conan's parents are happily there because they've been there since episode 945. They've been hanging around, occasionally pop up in canon episodes. Because the fact the fight against the Black Organization can be serious, despite the fact nothing really much has been done with them in the anime in quite a while. I think the last time they involved anything related to the Black Organization was basically the episode where Amuro basically had a confrontation with Aki in the Kudo house. But the thing is, in the manga, it wasn't until the FBI serial murder case they actually did anything with the Black Organization, which is the first time they've involved with anything related to this particular organization in quite a while. I mean, last time they did anything related to the Black Organization? Well, not since episode 900. Since episode 942, it was the last time they were involved with the Black Organization. Yeah, that was last time in the anime per se. But the Silverberry case was the first one since then. They were briefly involved in the cases before that, but that's been it for them. Yeah, and I can't wait to basically discuss that one. Mm-hmm. So, after trying for a while, they catch up exactly what's going on, and the episode ends basically with Aki going to meet with Conan to go rescue his brother. Yep. That's pretty much the episode for you. It's a damn good episode. I can't wait for next week, which is going to wrap up this particular arc. Yep, it is. Yeah, it's going to wrap up this arc, and just basically we're going to move on for this arc, and probably going to go to, and you might be thinking, ugh, anime original content. Which shouldn't be surprising given the fact this anime has since to do that. Yes, we have to go through anime original content before we do the very next case. Well, there's a reason why. Because I catch up the manga too quickly. But I should point out, as this episode, they're only 40 chapters behind the manga. Well, after they finish this arc, it'll be less than that. Yes. So, my guess is they might wait until the very next arc is completed before they actually start. Now, here's something interesting, though. Next week is going to be the finale for this arc, and also next week I'm reviewing the start of the very next case for the manga. Yep, they're looking forward to doing that. Yep. But yeah, that's going to be it for this particular review. I have no other videos planned for today. So expect to see tomorrow reviews for My Hero Academia, because that's coming back tomorrow. Black Clover, One Piece, Demon Slayer, and Boruto. That's it. Yep. 5 videos coming tomorrow. Okay, to the next video. Bye.